Retirement isn't the finish line. It's actually the beginning of a new chapter in your life. And most people get this completely backwards, which is why so many retirees end up feeling lost, purposeless, and honestly a little bit terrified about what comes next. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to design a retirement life that genuinely excites you, not just one you stumble into by accident. Here's something that might surprise you. Studies consistently show that the happiest retirees aren't the ones with the most money. They're the ones who intentionally designed what their days would look like before they ever stopped working. That distinction matters more than almost anything else when it comes to your long-term happiness and even your physical health in retirement. So let's talk about the real problem first. Most people spend 30 or 40 years building toward retirement as if retirement itself is the destination. They save money, they count down the years, and then the day arrives and suddenly there's this enormous blank space where their entire identity used to be. Your job gave you structure, purpose, social connection, and a reason to get out of bed every single morning. When that disappears overnight, the void can feel overwhelming. The good news is that this is completely solvable. But only if you approach it with the same intentionality you brought to building your career. Start with what I call your personal inventory. Before you can build a new life, you need to understand what you actually want from one. Grab a notebook and write down 3 columns. In the first column, list everything from your working life that you genuinely loved and want to keep. Maybe it's the problem solving, the team collaboration, the sense of achievement when a project comes together. In the second column, write down everything you're relieved to leave behind. The long commute, the office politics, the deadlines that weren't really yours. In the third column, and this is the one most people skip entirely, write down everything you always wanted to do but never had time for. That third column is where your new life lives. Now here's where most retirement planning advice goes completely wrong. People tell you to fill your time with hobbies, and that advice isn't wrong exactly, but it's dangerously shallow. Hobbies alone don't create a meaningful life. What you actually need is a combination of 4 things working together. You need purpose, which is a sense that your actions matter beyond just yourself. You need structure, because humans genuinely function better with some framework to their days. You need social connection, because isolation is one of the fastest paths to declining health in retirement. And you need growth, because a life where you're learning nothing new starts to feel stagnant within months. Purpose doesn't have to mean saving the world. It can be mentoring someone younger in your field. It can be volunteering for an organization whose mission genuinely moves you. It can be building something with your hands, writing a family history, teaching a skill in your community. The lay is that it has to connect to your values, not just fill your calendar. Structure is something you get to design yourself now, and that's actually a gift. The mistake most new retirees make is either keeping every single rigid habit from their working life, or abandoning all structure entirely and wondering why they feel unmoored after 3 months. The sweet spot is what researchers call a flexible framework. You have anchor points in your week, specific commitments that happen regularly, but plenty of room for spontaneity and exploration between them. The sweet spot is what researchers call a flexible framework. You have anchor points in your week, specific commitments that happen regularly, but plenty of room for spontaneity and exploration between them. Social connection in retirement requires deliberate effort in a way it didn't during your working years. Your job provided built-in social interaction whether you thought about it or not. Now you have to create it on purpose. This means joining things, yes, but more importantly it means investing deeply in a smaller number of relationships rather than maintaining a huge network of shallow ones. Quality absolutely wins over quantity here. Growth is the piece that keeps retirement feeling alive and not like you're just waiting. Learning something genuinely new, something difficult enough to challenge you, keeps your brain engaged and gives you that sense of forward momentum that work used to provide. It doesn't matter whether it's learning a language, mastering a musical instrument, taking up photography, or studying history. What matters is that there's a learning curve involved, something to work toward. Now let's talk about the identity shift, because this is the psychological work most people completely avoid. For decades you've introduced yourself by what you do for work. When that's gone, many people experience a quiet identity crisis they don't have words for. The most successful retirees I've spoken with went through an intentional process of redefining who they are beyond their job title. They built an identity around their values, their relationships, their curiosity, and their contribution rather than their profession. One practical way to start this process is to write yourself a personal mission statement for this chapter of your life. Not what you'll do, but who you want to be and how you want to show up in the world. Keep it simple, keep it honest, and revisit it every few months as your retirement evolves, because it will evolve, and that's actually part of the beauty of it. Here's the truth nobody tells you about retirement. The people who thrive aren't the ones who finally get to rest. They're the ones who finally get to choose. Every single day you wake up and you get to decide how your time is spent, what you create, who you connect with, and what kind of person you're becoming. That's not a burden. That's the most extraordinary freedom most of us will ever experience.